hope I'm here not only for the gender balance of the speakers, but I will try to do my best to talk a bit what we are doing from the perspective of government regarding fintech and regarding innovation environment. So, as you know, I'm representing Ministry of Economic Development, where we are, and being in the ministry, I'm responsible for the all regulatory framework dedicated to innovation. We would like to push a bit Poland into the innovative railways. And as President Chrzanowski has mentioned at the beginning, it is good to hear that the Polish supervisory body is going to be the elder brother of the all fintechs in Poland, because this is what we would like to help to do, be a really older brother by the regulatory framework. And first of all, I would like to thank you at the beginning, because we started our adventure with the fintech. It was in January of 2016, so it was actually the second month of the government when we met Bartek and Paweł in the Ministry of Economic Development, and we started to talk about fintech. And they taught me a lot of that. And at the end of the day, I told them, okay, guys, I don't have any more time. Just prepare the report and just to order what is necessary to be done in the Polish legal system, that the fintech development is going to be developed better in Poland. So after 8 months later, we met another one, and the report has been completed. So I would like to thank you once again for this work that has been done and that inspired the Ministry of Finance, and the director is sitting here, being one of the persons responsible for the regulatory framework, which is now almost being adopted by the government. So at the beginning, I would like to say that in this report, and also in the commission established, which consists of 22 offices actually, and also the entrepreneurs, which try to find out where are the key barriers in the development process, you recognized almost 100 barriers that should be tackled in the Polish legal system. So the regulatory environment is becoming really crucial for the development of the ecosystem in Poland. The second point, what has been tackled, it is the maintaining constant dialogue between market and the administration. The third, of course, money. Money is always the question, and this is what we try to provide for the ecosystem in the Polish Development Fund, in National Agency for Research and Development, and the Polish Agency for Small and Medium-Sized Entrepreneurs. So there is a lot of money, a lot of public money which might be invested, the smart money that might be invested in a fintech companies. And of course, the business environment in general. That is why the constitution for the business constitution has been established last month in Poland. And of course, the last but not least is the possibility of testing the solutions, which you addressed mostly, that should be done definitely, that we should establish some kind of a sandbox that might be really helpful for all fintechs. So it's a process, of course. 100 amendments, 100 changes, and all those provisions I made before need some time. But we are pretty well advanced in the process. So the identification of barriers, as I mentioned at the beginning, we completed in December 2016. So we started of fintech task force at supervisory authority. We started to meet. At the beginning of this year, it was March 2017, and as I mentioned, it was around 70 people working in the working groups, establishing the solutions which we put into the legal system. Then another point, it is innovation as a part of the KNF, of the Polish supervisory authority actions. So the legal process started in July, and we are, as I mentioned before, just about of being accepted by the Ministerial Council. So the next week, the second social consultations are going to be started. So those barriers that I mentioned before has been identified, We are also planning to establish regulatory sandbox, and innovation hub has been almost settled in the authority body, what Mr. Chrzanowski has mentioned also before. We want to establish the sandbox just to help the fintechs to testify their solutions. How do we start? We organize ourselves in groups which we are working together, the administration and the small and medium-sized companies, but also what is specific in the Polish fintech society with the hard cooperation of banks. As you know, the fintech is going to be perceived as the technology which is going to kill the traditional banking system. But what is really interesting in Poland, that the traditional banks are deeply involved in fintech, and they are introducing technologies which are one of the most advanced within the Europe. Maybe it is because we didn't use checkbox since 1945, and that is why we introduced, and the Polish banks were one of the most innovative, actually, banks within the Europe. That is why maybe banks are so involved in the full process. Communication is something that is very important for us. That is why we are using such channels like this one today, but also thank you, Impact, for organizing some roundtables during all the process during all regulatory process. And of course, the tasks which we put in front of us. So we want to support fintech entrepreneurs by the advisory and also by the financial support, promoting cross-sectoral cooperation. So it is, as I told you, very promising. We start last year. We can declare that almost 70% of the barriers recognized in the document prepared by the foundation has been almost removed now. 17%, not yet. 9 of them are unjustified, and 3% we can declare we did it. As I talked at the beginning, so the Council of Ministers are waiting for the act which is now being prepared. The most important thing, which is this market, as you know, is very highly regulated, not only by our domestic law, but also in terms of European law. So that is why PSD2, so this is, I think, that is a keyword for all the fintechs in Europe. So we are waiting for implementation of this regulatory. We are also introducing new categories of payment service, payment initiation service, and also we are trying to simplify the area of licensing process. I think it is one of the most important issues. So the introduction of the small payment institution, which are not obliged to register by the fully registration. So the simple procedure of registration, it is really something that we expect might wake up the market. We are in the process, as I told you, in a public consultation, and those 3 points are really very important. So the extension of the status of Polish Financial Supervision Authority to include actions in support of the development of financial innovation. So it will be the first time when KNF will be obliged to looking for innovation technologies. We will have to take into account something new which is appearing on this market. So the second point is also very important. It shows that we are very pro-entrepreneurs. This is introduction of non-binding position of supervisory authority. This is a kind of the statement which is given to the market, and the market might say, okay, now I'm playing in this market legally. And another point, which I didn't put it here, which is maybe for you, which is very obvious, which was not very obvious, which is still not very obvious by now. This is this English version of documents which KNF is going to be obliged to published. So we hope to attract also, to develop the Polish fintech companies, but also to attract the fintechs from the region to come to Poland and to do some solutions together with us, also by using the public financial support. So what is very important, what we knew from the market, it is the possibility of testing, and that is why both Innovation Hub that KNF is going to establish, but also the sandbox is really very, very important. So if we want to have a really innovative and really safe new transaction system, we need to cooperate closely between academia, administration and business. That is why we are trying to introduce some special program in a National Center of Research and Development. We would like to also provide you with the special safe system of the prototyping transaction platforms for testing new instrument by sandbox, as I mentioned, by blockchain, which is very much interested, and a lot of Polish parliament, remember, are very much interested in the blockchain. We were together with the Ministry of Finance last week telling what is the Polish authority statement regarding blockchain and how we are willing to develop it in Poland. So lawmaking, of course, is all the time in process, but also investment in engineering and programmatic competences. And the fintech ecosystem, does it exist or not in Poland? Is it only declaration or do we really work with someone on this stage? So this is really, I think this the ground is really very good because you've got the development and the high investment, the time and the mind from the government. So the mindset of government is definitely pro-fintech. You can find it easily also by the number of people from the administration, from the Ministry of Finance, from the Ministry of Economic Development, here sitting in this room. But also the KNF, but also National Bank, and also the institutions from the Polish Development Fund being involved deeply and looking around for the new solutions that the money from the Polish Development Fund might be invested in. I can also provide you some details regarding the special program established 1 year ago, which is Scale Up, dedicated to the acceleration of the startups. And we expect that maybe we will be able to select not more than 5 accelerators. Finally, it was 60 groups that applied. We decided to select 10 of them. 2 out of those 10 are working constantly with the fintech companies. In those 2, the investment of the banks are also now visible. After this year, the 2 private VC established by one of the most richest Polish person in this year, and both of them decided to invest in fintech companies as well. So this movement is going to be done, is really very, very vital in Poland. Also this community regarding legal authority and investors are also looking around whether there is someone who might develop something really new. So I'm personally day by day looking around and seeing whether ZOPA is developing and how many clients is now being there, and is this way of transactions, so the smart investment and small lending brand is developing in Europe or not. We are on the very beginning of this road. I can see it, but if we have an excellent IT managers, if we have some good solutions within the traditional banking system, it would be really, we would be blind if we, as a government, if we don't see it. So going fintech, it is not a dream, it is a reality in Poland. If we are talking about ecosystem, there are still some startups which are being recognized not only by the government, but also internationally. Some of them you can see here. Some of them are being invited by the Polish president into their business trips just to present the solutions that are being working and being developed in Poland. I do believe that in Central Europe, Poland today is really the innovation hub, not only by the potential of the Polish IT managers, but also by the legal framework that has been elaborated in this country through last 2 years. I do believe that this kind of initiative as this one will attract you, the CVC investors, and those who are really want to develop the products might come through. So thank you very much. Look around, see the Polish startups, not only Polish startups, come here and invest together with us. Thank you very much.